Okay, so we are on our way to an industrial estate which just short of a year ago I started practicing in. I think, yeah, I did my CBT in September. I got my full license in November. But this industrial estate was great for me to practice without sort of a lot of people on the road causing chaos. So I thought I would do a sort of beginner specific video, seeing as it is coming up to 1 year of riding for me. Obviously I've learned a lot in the past year. I should have worn my hoodie because it is cold now. It was rainy when I first went out though, and I don't want to have to peel off a wet hoodie. I don't know about anyone else, but when you pass your CBT, and let's say if you got a 125 and you rode around with elbow floats for a little while, did it feel legal for you to be let out on the road after that one day? Because it did for me. Like, I knew the basics, and I'd been driving on the road for like a year and a half at that point. It still felt like, well, there was a huge learning curve. You do the CBT to check the boxes, and then it's up to you, like, whether you've actually figured it out or not, and whether you put into practice everything you've learned, and whether you dedicate a lot of time to learning more. So this kind of stuff really helped me at the start, because I was a very nervous rider. So I guess there's two scenarios in which this would help. Is either you just passed your CBT, you've got your own bike, and you obviously need practice, or you've passed your A2 or your A license tests, but that might have been on a different bike to the one you actually own if you used a school's bike. So you then need to get familiar with your own bike, and maybe, you know, even after the lessons and passing the test, it's one thing learning to pass a test. Have I gone down the wrong exit? No, this is all part of the industrial estate. The tests teach you how to pass the test. They teach you the keys that you need to learn. You'll be scored, and there are marks that you lose or gain. Or, well, you lose. And then if you get too many or you make something too serious, then you fail the test. But they don't teach you everything you need to know. They can't, because it takes ages to learn how to ride. I think, ask any biker and they'll say they're constantly learning. You've never done. I have no idea how to go around this industrial estate, but it all sort of links together. I feel like it's good if you don't know the area well and you have to read all the signs every now and then. Now, it's a Monday, which means all the lorries are about and everything's in motion, and this isn't particularly quiet, but I'm fine with that now. But I used to come here on a Sunday evening. It was dead. Everyone has gone home. You've still got parked cars and parked lorries to sort of maneuver around, which is great if you want to practice pulling away from behind a car. Are you letting me through? Thank you. For me, I would ride around, get comfortable with being on the bike again. Obviously, the downside of finding a place like this is you've got to ride there. It gets you used to, generally these places are 30-40 miles an hour, so it gets you used to riding at town speeds without a lot of the traffic from town. Because the thing is, if you're a nervous rider, you have tunnel vision. Anxiety gives you tunnel vision. I have right of way, thank you very much. It's 40 here. And if you're way too focused, I mean, we all know target fixation. It's probably one of the first things you're taught when you're learning to ride. The second you fixate on a target, you're going to go where you look. And so if you're fixated on one thing because you're so nervous, let's say you've seen a car that's turning, but it's 200 meters ahead of you, but you haven't seen a massive pothole in the road. Are they working there? Let's carry on straight. Should have really dropped a gear down there, but oh well. Right, well, I've been an umpty and accidentally worked my way out of the industrial estate already. Well done, Ella. What I was saying was, sometimes my dad would come with me and follow me in the car for a couple of different reasons, which I'll explain. One of them being he had a map, so he could direct me. I had my Cardo, and we would phone each other. Oh, I've not been down these sidewell roads in ages. It's also when you're not feeling confident, it obviously can be very scary going out on your own. So if you have someone to follow you around, either on the bike or in a car, it's really handy. Okay. U-turn completed. So it's no secret that the best thing for beginners to do is practice. And you're not going to get away from that fact. You need to put in hours of just doing this over and over again, whether it's before your tests or after. Obviously you do like during practice or after them. It doesn't stop. The practice doesn't stop just because you've got a license, especially if it's just a CBT, because as I said, I passed the CBT, but I didn't feel confident on the roads. Both me and Katie would go out early Sunday mornings when there was no one around because we didn't feel as confident. We just wanted to practice without loads of people being around. What are we doing 20, my guy? And let's say you've done your test and you've used the school's bike. You get home, you've got your own bike sat there ready to go. You're like, oh my god, I'm so excited. And then you realise this feels completely different. Come on. Move. It's going to take you some time to get used to your own bike. So I'll show you some of the things I practice. None of this is probably going to be new if you've done any sort of tuition with a school, CBT or otherwise. Apart from one thing, which I should probably talk about now whilst I'm sat behind a car, who, alright, they're fine now. They just were a bit slow to start with. My dad would come here with me. He'd be in the car in front of me, and he would practice to be one of those really annoying drivers that doesn't know where they're going. He would be one of those drivers that crawls along the road, starts to turn into a junction, and then goes, oh wait, no, that's not the right one, and then they carry on. So they're a little bit all over the place, and basically it was just to help me sort of deal with unpredictable events. You know, you don't want to expect that a car's going to do exactly what you want it to do, because chances are it won't. Another thing he'd do when the road was clear is he would slow down so that I could still overtake him within the speed limit, and then he would get me to overtake him. So it was practicing the Lifesavers. I'd get him to trail behind me, because a lot of the stuff you do for your big test you can practice on a little bike. I'd get him to trail behind me and tell me whether he could see when I did my Lifesaver, because one of my main problems was when you get anxiety shoulders and they're all hunched up, the chin of your helmet might not go over them, which can cause problems with visibility. You might think you've done a Lifesaver, but actually you haven't turned around as much as you need to. So again, generally, obviously industrial estates will have a lot of junctions and roundabouts that you can practice on. Some of these ones like this go onto the main roads, so they may be a bit busier, but there will also be smaller ones that you could try first if you're not feeling too good that day. Wish they'd sort out the road surface though. Okay, so what have we covered? We've covered just riding around. Hello, I'll give you a nod, never mind. We've covered the numpty driver. I found that really valuable, that one, because he wouldn't obviously tell me what he's going to do. We were still on the phone, so he'd be like, do I need to go this way? Do I need to go that way? Like he's thinking out loud. But it was so useful for me to like practice slow control in a different way to what you do for Mod 1, which is that you have to ride in a straight line. Or I know obviously you got the slalom and stuff, but it's slow control with a massive car or lorry or whatever in front of you that you don't know what it's going to do. Whereas on the Mod 1, everything is down to you and your actions. And generally on the Mod 2, at least my route, mine was like an 8 o'clock exam, so the roads were quiet. So, okay, yeah, that's fine. You get out of that junction. Like, obviously, yes, there were cars around, but I don't think I had to give way to anyone at any. I mean, I can't really remember it now, but it was just the usual. Like, oh, there was a bit of country lanes. There was some town riding, obviously pull away from behind a parked vehicle, but all of the residential roads were really quiet. That's the other thing, is if you live in a sort of a good residential estate, you could obviously always practice around there. You're just less likely to find big junctions and roundabouts like this. I feel like this is more open and less scary. I mean, the right turns are huge. The right turns with the big... I keep meaning to turn round there. Never mind. That's the other thing I practice around here, U-turns, and that is what I need to re-practice because I take way too much space for them. Wait, no, let's go this way. Yeah, I take way too much space for them. I mean, I know, like, in day-to-day life you can get away with not doing U-turns, but it is very good to know how to do. So I want to do some slow maneuver practice, and I will do a video on it where I get some cones and I go to a really nice flat space and do, because I'm going to have to redo my Mod 1 to get my A license, because that's the rules, as much as I hate them. Next November I will be resitting my mods. So plenty of open junctions, practice left and right. One of the main things for me with this bike is because my hands are small, right? Okay, it's not as much of a problem now with the adjustable levers. If I adjusted them all the way in, I could probably not have to deal with this. But I can't switch the indicator whilst using the clutch. It has to be all the way out or all the way in for me to reach the indicator. So that took a bit of time to sort of coordinate how I'm going to do junctions and that kind of stuff. And again, this kind of place was exactly where I practiced to make sure it wasn't going to become a problem when I'm out on the road in a busy place. I'm not going to try this now because it is too busy. But if I was to come here on a Sunday evening or somewhere, you know, sometime very quiet, I could use those roundabouts to do some practice. Because you may remember, or you may not have watched it, you may remember my first accident video, where essentially a driver pulled out onto the roundabout when I was already on it, and it was a bit too close, and I grabbed the front brake and dropped the bike. So to practice, I could come here. I mean, this accident was like back in January, so we're talking a while back. But I could come here and I could go on the roundabouts. Obviously you have to make sure it's dead quiet, and I'd probably come with someone so they could keep an eye out and make sure no one's popped up in my blind spot as I'm going round the roundabout. But it makes sure you get your lifesavers in, I suppose. And practice stopping whilst going round. I approach, especially that roundabout that I actually had the accident on, but I approach all roundabouts with a lot more caution now. So, no. Too close to a junction. I need to practice packing up. This place has always been perfect for practicing, like packing up behind a car and then moving out. I probably could have used that mini, to be fair. Okay, that's better. I'm in second, so I'm not trying to do a really tight U-turn. Okay, I messed that one up a little bit. It's fine. What I didn't do is panic. I looked at the curb. Okay. Well, let's use this as an opportunity to stop. I'd stop somewhere around here to practice moving off and doing my lifesavers. Obviously sometimes with a car in front, which freaked me out because obviously it was more of a manoeuvre. But again, it's just getting that initial like fear out of the way with. That car's really awkwardly parked in it. What is he trying to do? Is he turning out of the estate, but he can't do it in one swoop? It's a bit dodgy, that. Well done. I could never drive one of them. Lifesaver and move off. I know I need to indicate. So stopping a roundabout here. I think they normally say like 2 cars length or 1 car length. I don't know. This looks about right. And Dad would be behind me so he could see, because this is one of the dramatic lifesavers you really got to make sure you do. big check. Obviously checking my mirrors, big check, indicate. I can never remember the the route now. I know I needed to indicate, and check is the last thing to move out. I think I got a minor on my test because I was a bit slow from looking to moving out. Which way is out? Because I am done with this estate now. Where am I going? I mean, surely I can go out either. There's a tractor. Just follow the tractor. Why not? So I hope that's helped in some way. The size of those tyres. Taller than me! It's not hard. Basically, moral of the story is go to an industrial estate or somewhere quiet with lots of stuff that you would normally encounter on the road but not a lot of people, and practice until a lot of it is second nature. My reasoning behind doing it in somewhere like that is because it's quiet, it means you can just focus on your skills most of the time, and then when it comes to getting out into the town centre or somewhere busy, you don't need to worry about trying to figure out what you're doing because it's all second nature. I mean, a lot of it will be by the time you've passed your test anyway, but again, it's then like learning your own bike. And everyone sort of learns at different rates. You can pass a test and then not feel comfortable. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that helped. Just keep going, essentially. If you're new, just keep going when you're nervous. Like and subscribe. And as always, check the description if you fancy your own art commission drawn by me or a hoodie, which I should have worn today because it is pretty chilly. And I'll see you in the next video.